Jessica Case. I'm the deputy publisher of Pegasus Books. And, I am here to talk a bit about publishing, kind of the publishing process, what happens, when I acquire a book and kind of the full publishing process. Cause I think, knowing what happens down the pike kind of helps people when they're working and kind of what, we'll be looking for and expecting here. Review of the publishing process. So the submission process, and this is all done from my vantage point. And then I think, we can do questions later because I'm sure there'll be some good questions. So when I am looking for things to acquire, a literary agent will query me on the manuscript and share their pitch letter. And then I'll, say, yes, this sounds perfect. This sounds like just what I'm looking for. I can't wait to start reading. Or no, we're not really doing much in the children's space, or we're not doing much fantasy right now. And a lot of agents, they know me and maybe we've done deals together in the past, or at least they've been following what I've been acquiring. So they kind of know kind of what to pitch me on. And then if it looks like it might be a good fit, I'll ask to see the manuscript or proposal. So making an offer. If I love the manuscript or proposal, that's obviously the first step. Quality and emotional connection is tantamount. There can be kind of trends in publishing, like coloring books or sexy vampires, but at the end of the day, quality is where it is for me. And then of course, once we love the book, we like the proposal and things that has some potential, then we have to kind of do our financial and business considerations. Have we published similar books like this in the past? Is this something we think we can launch successfully based on our own particular strengths? Certain books we've tried over the years and maybe we aren't able to launch them. I don't know if it's a disconnect with our marketing or something like that, but certain genres we've just said, oh, even though we love them, it's just not something we think we can be the best champion of. Other things we can do really well with. So then we kind of look at that and run some numbers and compare, past history. And then also, what does the overall market look like for similar titles? Is it overly saturated? Was it something that was really popular, but maybe on a little bit of a downward trend? Those are all things we'll kind of factor in when we're thinking about making an offer. Then if all the stars aligned, we'll send the agent an offer that details our advance, our royalty structure, which is what is paid through once the advance has been earned out by sales. Other considerations, are we going to publish in hardcover first? Is it going to be a paperback original? Who gets to control audiobook rights? And then once it's all signed, we are off to the races. And then once I acquire a book, I will work through the manuscript and kind of a line edit. That'll be kind of the greater structural feedback, argument points if it's nonfiction, character development, tone, the conclusion, do we need to fix the epilogue? Are we leaving the reader with the right message? And then once we're kind of happy with the manuscript as a whole, we'll move to copy editing. We'll do like the fine tooth comb for tense and style. And, if it's a crime novel, oh, you said the character got off the train at 6 o'clock after riding there for 3 hours, but you said that, but they left at 1. What is it? Kind of plugging all those holes. A good copy editor will be good for that. And then once copy editing is complete, we send to production to be typeset, then it really starts to look like a book, kind of fully designed. And, then it stops looking like a Word document and something that's, really real. And while we're kind of doing all this back and forth, we'll also be talking about a cover design and looking through different covers that the author and I both like, that we think might be good comps for our designer to put something together. Whether it's, nonfiction or a novel, the cover is the primary ad for the book. So we really want to make sure we get it right. And things kind of come in and out of fashion for covers. It's so funny, even with Instagram, we've noticed over the past couple of years, cover designs have really changed to really pop in like that small thumbnail format versus, gosh, when I first started in publishing, it was really like, what does it look like on the shelf, in the store, in a big stack. So design aesthetics have definitely changed. And while the edit is happening, and the writer and I are going back and forth, we prepare sales material for our sales team. Our sales team is with Simon & Schuster. We're distributed by them. And the sales team goes out and gets the retail accounts excited. They go out to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, indie stores, libraries, and more. And then the retailers will also sometimes offer some cover feedback as warranted, saying, oh, it's so beautiful. But did you know that novels with musical instruments on the cover really don't sell? That's like apparently that's a truism. So, then we might have to go back and adjust the cover one more time. And then also, while this is all going on, we have a rights manager, and they will be out there kind of pushing for foreign language translations or audio rights, depending if we, control those rights in the end. And then once the book is kind of, pretty much off into production, we turn to publicity and marketing. It's a noisy world out there in media. Book marketing and publicity is definitely an all hands on deck approach, just to cut through the noise of everything that happens in the world today. So this is the time for the author to call in any and all favors from media connections. Oh, your high school buddy is now like a books reporter at the Santa Barbara News, like reach out. And for the author to ramp up on social media too. We pitch the book to book media using that early typeset of the book. And we reach out to reviewers, book editors at the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post. Then there's radio, other print and online publications, podcasts, television producers, bloggers. We've got big databases of all these people, and we'll kind of curate specific lists for your book to see, to try to get as much coverage as possible. As then on the marketing front, as an indie press, our ad budgets are lean, but we definitely want to be strategic with kind of more paid promotions, whether it's via Goodreads and giveaways or Amazon ads or BookBubs, which is like discounting for ebooks. So we really want to do a full court press on both ends of the kind of promotion angle. Social media is kind of in this amorphous, publicity and marketing space. We have a dedicated social feed for Pegasus. We do have to love all our children equally. So, we're always trying to divide, make sure we're covering and championing all our books, in a fairly equal way on social media. So the author's feed is often a huge asset here. And we always talk about a good strategy for every book, because every book is a little bit different based on the author's platform, the subject of the book, how social media savvy they are. Some of our older authors are a little bit of a lost cause as far as Twitter and Instagram goes. We kind of focus them mostly on Facebook. They ask me if they should be on TikTok, and I say, don't worry about that. Let's just focus on where your strengths are. And I think, just generally, we find that the authors, you want to keep that organic voice. You don't want to do too much selling of the book all the time every day, because I think people tend to get tired of that and start to tune it out. So you kind of interspersing it with a more general content about writing, the subject of your book, what you're working on, what's exciting for you, cover reveals, and even championing other writers, connecting with other writers in your genre, subject area, community, can be great allies come launch. And it's a way to mix up the content of your feed. So it's not always, about the buying the book too, becomes a little too pushy, I think. And then it's just some last thoughts, getting a publishing contract is difficult and often frustrating. Don't be discouraged. Just even at Little Pegasus, we receive hundreds of submissions every week. And we only publish 100 new books every year. So, it's just really, there's just, sometimes it's just a volume and a numbers game. And it's been, it's tough out there in general for book sales, just between COVID and Amazon and everything else, so it can take time. And I think, one thing that helps, I think, with the submission and when you're kind of crafting letters to reach out to agents and querying people is to read widely and critically. I think it's hugely helpful to check out book reviews in major papers as well as websites. LitHub can be a great resource, or Publishers Weekly, because that way, you kind of see what's out there. You see what's being published, what's, how your work and how your story might fit in to kind of the new books that are coming out now. And it'll just give you a better knowledge of the trade in general, because